Thank you for the introduction. I have prepared a short presentation in Greek, but I'll try to revert it in English. Have a good day, all of you. From my part, here I represent the business community. The fact that I'm in the far left, I don't know whether it means something, Mr. Garis. You'll tell me. Okay. Since time is short and we all, even today, move very slowly, I'll try to be also very short. Just to make it clear, as a profession, I'm a civil engineer, so I don't belong to the academy, nor to the economy world, not to the politicians as well. So I'll try to be very short and practical. We are talking about the National Energy Plan. As far as I know, it already exists from 2012, a national energy plan prepared by the ministry of that time, HAEE, HAEE, DESFA, DEPA, CAPE, and NGOs, and also the National University of Athens, Technical University of Athens. We've heard from the media that a new energy plan is being prepared that will be presented in September. And we also know that according to EU directives, we are obliged to have an energy plan and renew it, let's say, how is it? Every year provide the new energy plan, which should be very detailed up to 2030 and give the general directions up to 2050. I suppose that during the preparation of the new National Energy Plan, all the directives and the trends that are given by the EU will be taken very seriously. Now, going very quickly through the slides, number one, we see the EU targets for energy. First, for gas emissions, minus 20% to the compared to the reference year 1990, and for 2030 it's minus 40%. Renewables is plus 20%, and for 2030 plus 27%, and energy efficiency accordingly. If we go to the other slides, we see that the ETS carbon price is going up, and ETS gas emissions are going down. We go to year 2030. We see, as Professor Kapros very detailed showed before, that we're talking about the price around 30 euros per ton. And if we proceed with the next slide, where we have the reference, the EU reference scenario regarding the energy mix for Greece, prepared on 2016, last year, we see that by 2030, oil is almost zero, which means that most of the islands will be interconnected. Solid fuels will be cut by half. And gas will be reduced a little bit, but renewables are going to become double, and they're going to increase another 50% up to 2050. If we see the existing today's energy mix, we see that we cover the target of 2020, but this is due to the imports, that of course they change the picture a lot, and also due to the crisis, which created some extreme conditions. Now, if we go to the next slide, we see that if by 2030 we keep the same energy mix as we have today, then we will have to pay 400 million euros for carbon CO2 emissions for lignite, and another 100 million euros for natural gas, which means about 500. If we keep lignite 25% in the energy mix, in the energy production, this number becomes 500 million, and if we 600 million, and if we keep lignite up to 30%, as has been mentioned officially by the company that operates the lignite plants, we talk about a cost for CO2 emissions just for lignite of 700 million euros. So as consumers, we care a lot for cost. And the whole Greek industry depends a lot on energy costs. So this is a very vital question, and that's why we believe that during the planning of this energy plan, the business community should participate in the discussions. If we see what are the plans for at the European level, we see that oil is almost zero by 2020, actually, so we are behind. And we see a big increase in renewables. So, as Mr. Benroubi mentioned before, we expect that if we calculate the capital costs plus the operating cost for a new lignite plant, having in mind that it will operate around 7,000 hours per year, which is very, very, very optimistic, we expect the cost of electricity produced to be in the range of 90 to 100 euros per megawatt hour. I cannot understand how the Greek industry and the Greek economy could survive with such a high price, and I don't understand what is the strategic planning of the incumbent power producer. Now, regarding security of supply. Today, 50% of the security of supply under critical conditions for the electricity production is covered by natural gas power plants. What we see is that lignite gives has a big deviations between the declared capacity and the actual capacity that is produced in real time. And also, if we leave the market to work properly, and this is something that is fully understood during the crisis of December last year, January this year, then we could cover the cost of energy for the critical days much cheaper than we did. The reason was that the Greek price was not high enough so that we continued exporting electricity because the prices in Central Europe were much higher instead of importing. So we ran out of gas. The reason is that the market wasn't operating properly. So all the rest is just what we want to say, not what reality is.
Σάκη, να ολοκληρώσουμε.
Yes. So that's all. Actually, that's all I had to say. I believe that the world moves fast. We don't move fast. We're almost idle. And sometimes when we move to the wrong direction. Thank you.